Hello and welcome to the first module of the unit devoted to Yves Chevallard and the Anthropological Theory of the Didactic, the ATD, in the project of ICMAI awardees multimedia online resources. Let me invite you to the Anthropological Theory of the Didactic, the research framework I have been working on for the past 30 years. The Anthropological Theory of the Didactic was the name Yves Chevallard gave to the research framework in the didactic of mathematics he started developing in the 80s with the first investigations on didactic transposition. Since then, this research framework has evolved considerably, although its first developments remain fully active, as you will see in the next module, which is precisely devoted to the didactic transposition theory. You can here see some of the main analytical tools of the ATD that I have located in an approximative timeline to give you a very succinct chronology of the field. The structure of the units do not follow the chronology, but tries to put most of these notions and tools into use. I have chosen to follow a path based more on a questioning logic, starting with the questioning of knowledge in Module 2, with its descriptions or modeling in Modules 3 and 4, and with the consideration of different levels of questioning in Module 5. I will then expand the questioning to approach didactic systems, where teaching and learning processes take place. This is Module 6. And then I will introduce different levels of questioning and analysis of these processes. In particular, I will present and use a broad description of teaching and learning processes in terms of inquiries. This will be Module 7. Then we will analyze their ecology, that is, the conditions for them to exist as normal school activities, in Module 8. Finally, I will briefly talk about a very specific descriptive framework of the ATD to approach cognition in its broadest meaning. I have used some colors to let you see the relationships between the chronological milestones and the different modules of the unit. For this introduction, I will use the introduction of one of the last books on the ATD, published by Routledge in 2020 in the series New Perspectives on Research in Mathematics Education, in collaboration with the European Society for Research in Mathematics Education. I invite you to read the introduction afterwards, and the whole book, of course. In the book, you will find also a glossary with many terms of the ATD that I will present and use in this unit. Before entering the ATD and its proposals, let me mention three main principles that have helped me a lot in my research. I want to share them with you in the hope that they will also be helpful for you and for others. The first one is what I call the emancipatory principle. To me, it's one of the main methodological principles, and in this case, the ATD shares it with all social sciences. It consists in avoiding taking for granted the elements of the social world we are studying. All of us are citizens. We are also or have been students, some are teachers, educators, parents, sequentially or at the same time. As such, we all have our own opinions, interpretations, and analysis of the reality around us. But in the ATD, we want to approach this around us from a scientific perspective. And for that, we need to control our assumptions. This is a basic gesture in scientific work. The strategy proposed by the ATD consists in setting forth a wide set of basic notions used to model and conceptually reconstruct the didactic world in a fresh perspective, to avoid being contaminated by the visions of the people and institutions that are part of this world. When you see a new term appear after many others, please remember it has a specific purpose. Remember the famous quote, "Everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler." The second principle I want to talk about is one Yves Chevallard calls the Humpty Dumpty principle. It is an evident principle in mathematics, where groups, fields, rings do not mean what they usually mean outside the discipline. However, in education, using a specific terminology and specific notations to put this terminology at work can sometimes be troublesome. Let us apply the first principle, the emancipatory principle, not to follow the implicit assumption that problems about education have to be solved in an uncomplicated way, mostly using common sense and common means, as if they were trivial and simple. Words, expressions, discourses, as well as symbols, graphs, figures, and gestures are crucial cognitive tools. They are essential to describe and scrutinize the objects and phenomena we wish to study, as well as to imagine and create new realities, new entities, new relations, to talk about what exists, but also about what could exist, but does not, as well about its non-existent conditions of possibility. A third important principle I want to highlight is the anthropological principle. What does it mean? Why did Yves Chevallard coin the theory as the anthropological theory of the didactic? There are many reasons for that, but the most important one, to me, is methodological. It refers to the levels of generality and specificity we in the ATD assign to didactic phenomena. In the ATD, didactic phenomena are considered as inherent to any human group. Any group of human beings. All didactic phenomena are considered as part of humanity. Being human beings means co-creating and disseminating knowledge, and also failing to do so. Moreover, the anthropological approach also proposes a common vision of all kinds of human exchanges and activities, trying to exclude all values and categorizations brought about by the society and institutions researchers are immersed in and subjected to. We will see more about that in the next modules. After this brief introduction to some basic principles of the ATD, I invite you to cross the threshold to the other side of the mirror, joining me in modules 2 to 9. But let me first ask a final comment about the word theory. As with other knowledge domains, when we talk about the anthropological theory of the didactic, we do not refer to a theory in the sense of an axiomatic construction of principles, definitions, and consequences. You will see that in the ATD, theory has a specific meaning, according to the Humpty Dumpty principle. Moreover, as is often the case in science, theory is used metonymically to refer to a whole field of research with a specific way to raise problems and its own methods to address them. In this unit, I invite you to visit, to discover, and hopefully also to enjoy the way we do research in the ATD. the problems we address, the type of analysis we elaborate. Unfortunately, the videos cannot show the warmth of the research community that works on the ATD. It's human size. Let me just add some more photos to those Jean-Luc Dorier presented in Module 0 before entering into the core of the research framework. Come to join me with the ATD in Module 2.